Yes, lads, what is going on about the Season 3, Episode 7 of The Running Irishman? In this episode, we have a really special guest, like always. We have Cormac Dalton on the podcast. If you're not aware, Cormac is the senior men's captain in terms of athletics over in DCU College. He is a European Irish athlete. He was in the European cross countries last year. He talks about his experience in that in very broad detail, and kind of walks us through the entire race, which is really cool, and how challenging it was. He also tells us a few of his PBs. He has ran some really fast times. He's ran a sub 15 5k, which is amazing. He'll also be going over to America after this year, after his last year in college, on a mature shooting kind of thing over there, which is obviously really cool as well. And a lot more. He came third in the under 23 national 5k there in the summer in Santry Stadium, and all around just a really sound guy. So I appreciate Cormac taking the time to come onto the podcast, and as I said, it's a really great episode. So, you guys are really going to enjoy it. Really quick though, before we jump into this episode, we kind of have a sponsor for this episode, and we haven't had one in a while. Even though I rep the Gobi more and the Irealnd running brace in every episode, but this is quite a new sponsor, and that is. I'll get out this for anyone watching. They can see this. Head over. Link will be in the show notes if you're listening. Head over to YouTube to see what I'm showing. But you'll obviously get what I'm talking about from the description of the product. As you can see here, I have a massage gun in my hand. This is from Recovery Massage Guns over on Instagram. They are an Irish-based company during these tough times, as I keep saying, when Irish companies like Backballer, like Black Roll Ireland, and obviously like Recovery Massage Guns, they are Irish-based company. And during these times where, people can't go to the shops and, get what they usually get in the shops, and a lot of people are buying off Amazon. If you're looking for a massage gun, go Irish, go local, try and support out the local companies trying to, provide from themselves during these times, but also you're getting a really high quality product for the price. So this massage gun here, there's a wide variety of colours. I think there's black, blue, white and red. I could be wrong on that, but I'll go through the parts that it comes with first. There you guys take a little guess on how much it is, and then I'll tell you the actual price. So as you can see, I got the red version. They asked me what color I wanted, and I asked for the red version. As you can see, my room was pretty much all red. The Liverpool dressing gown, posters, bed sheets, everything. And obviously the classic Bob the Builder blanket back there. But anyway. Here's obviously the top of the massage gun where the head bit slots in that you actually use on your muscles. We flip around to the back. Here is the charging port, so that's obviously for charging. I'll show you the charger now. This here is the power button, and it has 6 levels. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's max level it's going at there. I don't know if I should probably really put this up to the mic. I'll probably break your ears, but you can hear it there, you can see it there. It's really heavy, it's really dense, it's really good material and well made. As I said, a really well made product. And this is the massage gun in an overview. I'll really quickly show you all the head bits and tell you what they do. As I said, for anyone listening to this episode, in the show notes, head over if you want to see. If you're thinking about getting one of these, you will be now in a minute when I tell you the price. Head over and give the video a watch. So the first head bit I'm going to show you is this. It's kind of like a drill bit, kind of like the sharp bit, head bit. This is for if you just say your glutes or your quads or like any part of your body really that has been really like in particularly stiff or sore or painful, like if you have shin splints or whatever, you just pop this this massage gun bit into the top, and you put it on whatever power you want, and basically this will like really get into those sore bits. And it's I've used it personally. My shins have been at me a little bit and my glutes, and it really, what I recommend is they really expose them sore bits. So unless you're really stiff before going out on a run or whatever exercise you're doing, because obviously this isn't just for running, it's for any sport, or just if you've been feeling stiff or you get, you know, pains in the back or in your legs, this can be good for anyone of any level of athletics or just life in general. As I said, it does really expose the pain in a way. So I don't recommend using this bit just before you go out doing your exercise or whatever. I recommend you using the next bit that I'm going to show you before you go out and do your exercise, as this really does make your back, or this bit in particular is for your legs. It really does make them feel better. So I'll show you. There is a round bit, and putting it in, I'll show you how to put it into the top of the gun. You just hold it sideways. There's the top there, and you see that gold circle. You just slot it in, and you kind of push it in, kind of do a little twisty action, and yeah, it goes in. This is for kind of your bigger muscles groups, like your quads, your calves, your hamstrings, your glutes, maybe in your back. You can get your shoulders. There is a specific bit for your back that I'll show you now in a moment. And but I said, this kind of for your bigger muscle groups. I use this one in particular. Like now, when I'm going out on my run after this, I will be using this to kind of loosen out my legs and just get me feeling prepared. It doesn't expose them really sore bits in particular as much as you'll say the drill bit does. I'm calling it a drill because it looks like a drill bit, but it just does make your legs feel really nice. And yeah, it's either this or the drill bit one that I use the most, just because I feel like they're most effective on me. And for the last two that I haven't used as much, but obviously for your specific needs, you could use them more than I do. I'll go on to the one. I'll do the one that I didn't use at all last. So there's this kind of pitchfork kind of one. You can see it there. This in particular is for the back of your neck. Kind of if you wake up and you have a creak in your neck, your shoulders or your lower back. This kind of just like for the back of your body, and obviously your neck. Again, you just kind of twist it in. It's very easy to put in and to put out, and it's I haven't used it as much, but the times I have used it on my back, it just feels so nice. So if you suffer from back pains, or you do a sport that, you know, maybe like horse riding, does that like put pressure on your back? I don't even know. But if you do a sport that puts pressure on your back, or you just hurt your back, this would be the drill bit for you. Now, moving on to the last drill bit. If you want to see a full review on this and like me using it and showing you all how to properly use it, make sure to give this video a like and follow me over on The Running Irishman over on Instagram. And I'll be keeping you guys up to date on when that will be going live, because I will actually be doing a full review on this. The last bit is this flathead bit. This one is kind of for everywhere, really. It's really good on your back. When I have used it, it was really good on the back because of how flat it is. But like again, this is for kind of after using the drill bit one, when those like sore parts of your body are really being exposed. This kind of then flattens them out a bit, kind of eases the pain, and it's also really good. You might use this one on a little bit of a lower power. So yeah, I haven't used this one too much. I'll definitely get around to doing it. But yeah, they are all the head bits that come included in the box. Instead of the head bits and the massage gun, the last thing is obviously the charger. I showed you the charging port that was on the back there. And then this the charger as well. It's a, what is it? It's a 240 volt AC charger. Or no, sorry. The output is a 8.4 volt 1 amp charger. So that's the amount that is getting put into the massage gun. It fully charged takes about 3 hours, and you get from an hour to 90 minutes of working time, which is really good, because really, so you're not going to spend too long on it, and then you can just throw it in charge overnight or whatever, or while you're out on your run, ready for you to use it while the time you come back. And yeah, it's an amazing product. And from all of that I've just shown you, and the quality of the products that I've just shown you, take a guess on how much it is. I'll wait. If you guessed anything over 60, you're wrong. You're so wrong. This massage gun from Massage Recovery Guns over on Instagram is only €50. You don't get better within the price range. They're an Irish company, and if there's a link to their Instagram down in the description and in the show notes, if you click that link, head over, give them a DM and say that you came from, just say, I came from the Running Irishman, can I get a massage gun? You will get a €5 discount, so I'll put the price down to €45 for you. Delivery with COVID at the moment, they've just got stock back in, so delivery COVID can be delayed, which isn't on their part at all. That's just, the postal services and whatnot, with loads of people shipping things and buying things online and everything. It may be a week. Don't count me on that. It's free shipping. You can get €5 off, saying you came from the Running Irishman. As I said, links to the Instagram down in the description. You have to go through the Instagram to get the €5 discount. And yeah, I really appreciate the Recovery Massage Guns for sending me out this product for me to use, review, and also giving you guys that €5 discount. The price doesn't do the gun justice. The quality of the gun isn't really shown in the price. People say, €45, it's not that great. This is amazing. I really do recommend it. Guys, that was a little quick review. Enough of me blabbering on, and let's get into this episode with Cormac Dalton. Everybody, I'm here with Cormac Dalton. Thanks, Cormac, for taking the time to come on to the podcast. I'm really looking forward to this episode. I won't do you any justice when it comes to an introduction, so do you want to just kind of take it away and introduce yourself?
Yeah, cheers, Killian. Thanks very much for having me on, man. My name's Cormac Dalton. I am 22 years old. I've been running for 13 years at this stage. I was part of the European cross country, the last European cross country that was on in 2019. I was on the under 23 team for the Irish team, and I was 49th at that. Other than that, I'm from Mullingar. I'm in my final year in DCU. I'm doing biotechnology, and I'm the DCU men's captain this year. So yeah, apart from that, just training, living up in Dublin, on campus in DCU, and yeah, that's pretty much that's me summed up.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's a nice little introduction there that we can work off from. So kind of just starting off from the start, basically. When we were talking off air, you were telling me that you started running from a really young age, and so you just want to kind of give a bit of background about that. When you started and who you ran for initially.
Yeah, so I think I was 9. I was in 3rd class, and our school and my primary school would always bring the 3rd class to the Westmeath cross country, and I never really ran before that, but I knew my mother ran. She actually she won a senior schools and stuff when she was younger, and went to Arkansas on scholarship. So I kind of had that in the back of my mind, but running was nowhere on my radar. I was kind of playing soccer and and football and all that. So I just went to that, and next thing I came like 4th, I think, in the Westmeath cross country. I was like, it wasn't too bad. I was like happy enough with that. And so my mom decided, it wasn't even my decision really. She was like, actually, you'll go into Mullingar Harriers, our local athletics club. So I started training that winter, and to be honest with you, I hated it at the start. I was just like, why am I here? I think I joined like a Leinster. My first race was a Leinster cross country, and where I was in Portlaoise, and just so mucky. And within the first 100 meters, somebody clipped the back of my spike, and I lost my shoe. And I just remember, this is when I'm like 9 years old. I'm running along in my first Leinsters, and I look at my mom, and I just kind of stopped, and I was like, I lost my shoe. Like I stopped in the middle of the race, and she was like, just keep running, just keep running. So I can remember it clearly. I was like 42nd or 43rd or something. I was a year out of age or whatever. I was 9, and I was like, this is horrible. But man kept me going into the club 2-3 nights a week, and I kind of trained for a year. I started making some friends in the club. I was like, this is actually getting a bit more enjoyable now. Once I had my friends, we trained together, and within a year, I went back to that same Leinster's on the same course, and I was in my right age. I think it was under 11, and I ended up winning the Leinster's. I think Mullingar that day we were like 1, 2, 3, 4 or something. So we had a nice group of guys, and they're all my friends. Like, so that's kind of how I started off running. Definitely influenced by my mom, but then I was like, once I got that kind of winning taste, I was like, geez, I like this. So kind of since then, I've kind of been I was hooked on it, and through finishing primary school and going into secondary school, I was still playing my football and soccer and running out to try and do all three of them. And I always just kind of had it in the back of my mind that I thought I had a little bit more to give in running, just because I was kind of getting better and better. I think, and when I was under 12s, under 13s, I won 2 or 3 track All Irelands. They used to be 600s, I think,
Yeah.
and 800s. So two of them were indoors and one of them was outdoors. And I was kind of there and thereabouts, all in the top three or whatever in cross. And yeah, I was really naturally, as even as a young lad, I was crazy competitive. Just like I thought every race was the end of the world. Like, and that's kind of how addicted to it I was. And I kind of went into secondary school, and pretty much within first or second year in secondary school, I decided that I'd give up the GAA, I'd give up the soccer, which I loved both of them, but yeah, I was just like, I was getting a few little injuries, and I always thought, oh, it's just affecting my running and all that sort of thing. So I gave them up and concentrated on running. So then in my second year in secondary school, I would have got my first Irish cap on the SIABS Schools International. I think we went to Wales. So that was I remember that being my little dream back then. Um, and yeah, I kind of went through secondary school, always just focusing on the running. I came second to the school's cross country when I was in an intermediate. That's why I was in transition year. And that was my second cap. And then I was third in the 3K All Ireland track and field. And yeah, I was enjoying it, but just as kind of TY came, while that was a good year for me in terms of running, I ended up getting, I think in a year I got 3 stress fractures in my metatarsals, in my so they're your toe bones. All three of them were like separate toes, so that kind of led me to a difficult year or two in TY in fifth year. I mean, I was just like, geez, there's something wrong here because they were all 3 separate incidents. So I went up to what's called the sports surgery clinic up here in Santry. Got an S&C coach, stuff like that. But it took me a good while to come back from, because that's 3 long layoffs, as you know yourself. When you take them long, 6 to 8 week breaks, it's tough to come back from. So yeah, that was kind of my the end of my TY in fifth year. I remember coming back doing an All Ireland's for the club and was like, I don't know, I was back in 50th or something. And I was like, geez, this is this is rough. Um, so that was kind of a period that was definitely made me question like running and whether I wanted to do it. But I got back in came like second in Leinster cross country, say in my final year, and didn't really perform in the All Irelands or the track because I think it was just the leaving cert itself. It's difficult with the study. But yeah, so I always had a dream where I'd go to America, but because of that, them last 2 years of injury and stuff, it didn't materialize. But I was lucky enough to get an offer to come to DCU. I undertook a course in biotechnology, and then I got under the DCU scholarship here in the athletics house. So it's called House 14. It's just on campus, and it's just a house full of athletes and all different disciplines. But to be honest, I couldn't be happier how it worked out. I love this. I love DCU. I love the place, and then I think it gave me more time to mature in terms of my injuries and running career and stuff, and getting that strength back up where I think I have it now. Yeah. So that was the start of my running career.
Yeah, that was some breakdown. To be fair, it was, we'll kind of maybe get into it a little bit more of kind of each segment. What I'm really, want to talk about is your injury back in TY. So obviously, a stress fracture in itself is, it can be a devastating injury, but to have three at the same time can be career damaging. So during that period, like, what was that like for you when all your team and all your friends were training? Like, did you do any sort of cross training to try to stay fit, or what was that kind of entire experience like?
Yeah, like it was rough, like because stress fractures. I mean, like there's not even rehab you can do. So like they weren't three at the same time, but they were three kind of spread over a period of a year,
Yeah,
kind of. So I was getting back from them, and then maybe another one would happen, and yeah, stress fractures. Like I mean, it's a bone. You just have to let it heal. But all I could do, I remember going into a gym back home, or a swimming pool. I'd go in, do maybe a 30-minute cycle and then hop in the pool, do a 30-minute swim. And that was pretty much for, I don't know how much months of the year, but of that year that where I was injured. But that's all I was doing, trying to get in a few days a week as much as I could. But yeah, it was definitely quite tough in terms of, especially when you're that age, like, you're kind of, you feel your identity is almost like, and I'm still the same almost when you're injured, your head is all over the place, and I was definitely like just seeing my friends as you say and guys I compete against, just seeing them go to the next level and next level, and I was just like, geez, I'm going backwards
yeah,
here. Was definitely difficult. So like, yeah, just cross training in the gym I was doing, but yeah, it was definitely tough. There was some nights where I was kind of, I was studying. The one thing I've kind of focused on school in a weird way. Not focused on school, but I was like, oh, just I had that extra time because I wasn't running in a weird way, and I was just like, oh, just when I was in fifth year, okay, because I left TY, went into leaving cert, and I just kind of got on top of work or whatever. But there's definitely nights, you're just in, especially when it happens three times, you're kind of, even when I go back running, then the next night when I'm coming back, I'm like, geez, is that little pain there? Is that little pain there? Is that another one? You just start getting into this almost snowball effect where you're just like, you just feel like glass. You know what I mean? You think your body is just gonna break again because it just has done for the last year. So in terms of that, I think that was one of the biggest things, was just trying to become confident again in turn that I can do hard training, I can I can do all this stuff without getting injured. But to get that, I had to go through a lot of S&C. I mean, when I went to S.3 Sports Clinic, I'm still with my coach there. Is Colin Griffin is his name, and we got me up on the treadmill, and there was, I was heel striking a slight bit, and I was crossing over, so there was very little strength in my running gait. So I mean, that was one of the biggest things coming back running, was I actually had to like pretty much change the way I was running, which in itself pops up different little niggles. Your calf hurts because you're running differently than your body's used to and stuff. So that was quite a difficult time where I was constantly doubting, like, geez, is this sport just not for me? Is my body just not made for this? There's plenty of nights where I thought that sort of way, but I think I don't know whether it's just I'm kind of stubborn and competitive, and I just do have that love for running deep down, that I just stuck at it and just the stubborn put on my stubborn head and just kind of just bull through it in a way. But it was quite difficult. But yeah, that was how that period went for me.
yeah, definitely. And like, when you're going through an injury, there's a lot of people say that, oh, it's hard to stay motivated to do different kinds of cross training and your recovery. When you are injured. But I feel like going back into, especially sport like running, and going back into your team, where then you were so far behind everyone else compared to when you weren't injured and you were winning all Ireland's, making Irish teams and everything. So when you got back with the team and you started running again, was that, could you say that maybe was the hardest time when you actually realised how much further behind you were than everyone else, or were you kind of motivated and ready to go when you started back?
Yeah, so when I started back, I was in fifth year, and a lot of guys say I would have started running, had kind of dropped off at that stage just because of different reasons. But then, yeah, as you said, when I came back running, I had like guys, 2 years, 3 years younger than me, and I was started training, and I was like, geez, these guys are like better than me now.
Yeah,
I was like, what the hell? Like the last time I checked, these guys were kids.
yeah,
Um, but so that was one thing, and sure I'll even tell you I think my first run back one of the times was all I had to do was like 5 minutes, and then other runs I had to do were like 2 minutes running, 1 minute walk, and 2 minutes running, 1 minute walking, or even the opposite, 1 minute running, 2 minutes walking. And I was just like panting, like, and I did a 5 minute run one time, and I thought I was going to get sick, and I was like, what
yeah,
the hell is going on? That was definitely like a shock to the system. And then I think for me, like training, I can deal with, because I'm like, right, if I do 6 weeks of this, I'm going to be way better, and I'm going to get back to where I was. I'd be able to tell myself that. I always try to keep in the back of my mind like that I have something to give in the sport. Like I was like, I know there's something there, but it was difficult to keep that sometimes. But I think for me it was the racing. It was where I joined an All Ireland cross country, where I just be looking at the top 12 guys, and I used to always beat them. And I literally hop off the course back in 50th, and I was just like, geez, like this, that would, for me personally, like losing is bad enough, but coming 50th, which there's nothing wrong with, but it's just when that big change. And I think I've seen it happen to a lot of athletes, where that big change from going from where you're in the top few to just to being bet by guys that used to not beat you, it does take a toll. You're like, it knocks your confidence, and you kind of have to rebuild that confidence from scratch. That's what I found. I had to almost forget about my old PBs, my old
yeah,
All Ireland, finishes and stuff, and I had to just say, right, I'm starting from scratch here. I'm 50th is my best. That's what I was telling. I had to tell myself. I was like, and if I come 30th in the next All Ireland, brilliant. It's one more. It's building up. And actually, my again, I'll say my mother and probably my coach Joe Ryan as well. They kind of helped with that, in terms of just telling me every time I come out over the line, I wouldn't have won the race, but maybe I done a bit better than the race before that. And that's all they made me focus on, was just like, it's progress. But it definitely took a while to progress back through the ranks.
yeah, definitely. And from where you are today and the standard of competition that you've ran, there was obviously then a period after the injury when you were back racing and back training, where you started the snowball effect kind of came in the opposite way, in the sense that you start building up fitness, confidence, speed, and strength again. So when did that kind of period come about?
I would say, like, I kind of got back into decent shape when I was in my leaving cert. I think I was ninth in the All Ireland schools cross country, um, which I was happy enough with. But like, I was still in the phase of like getting back from all these injuries, and it's never as simple as you'd hope it's going to be. You still get niggles, and they knock you back again a little bit. But I would say the snowball effect, yeah, it's that excitement of that you're after racing, you're in the top few, and I think that kind of came as I came into college, and I showed myself a few times that the talent and doing well is still there for me. I think my first varsity cross country, I came 10th or something, and in first year in college, and I was quite happy with that. I was like, geez, like, my strength and everything is still there, and it's coming back. And then the snowball kind of came from second year, I'd say, where I really got a consistent block training here in DCU, especially like my one guy from Mullingar Harriers. He's my training partner. You probably know him. Most of the listeners probably know him, Jamie Battle. So me and him would run. We run most of our steps together here in DCU, and the two of us were just, it just, everything was clicking for us. Jamie was 20th, I think, at European cross country juniors the year before, and the two of us were just training well together. And so when I was in second year, was my first year in the big boy race in the national seniors, at the cross country. And I ended up coming 14th and fifth under 23. that was really exciting to be up in at that level. And I think I proved to myself, and almost one of the biggest things is proving it to other people. Having people coming up to you and saying geez, you're back and you're getting back. And you can see that, like, geez, I've kind of impressed them there. Was a big thing for me. Where I was like, right, I can compete again with these guys. So when I was fifth under 23, unfortunately, I was one place outside getting the European cross country there. So I was one place, yeah, there, and which was a bit disappointing, off coming off such a high of having a good race. But then I feel like I just was like, right, my goal now is to get European cross country, and training just kept going well. Definitely, I'd say in terms of getting back my confidence, it's just that confidence in your training. I I really just nailed down the consistency, and things just start coming together then, I guess. And the year after that is when I eventually qualified for my first kind of major championship. And yeah, that's kind of where the snowball came from.
Yeah, and before we move off this the injury topic really quickly, would you say, in terms of involving the injury, I know at your age, still within your running career anyway, you're still very, very young to even get to your peak fitness and your fastest times. But in terms of nowadays you're running, would you say you were at your fastest that you will be in terms of the injury, or do you still think there's a good bit to go, a good bit more training to go to kind of get to that fitness in terms of the injury?
No, I still think I'm only kind of getting not the tip of the iceberg, but I feel like I have a lot more to give in terms of coming back from this injury. Like, I had to do it very slowly because, as I've said a few times, just in terms of building up that
Yeah.
strength. I think in first year college, just to put it in miles perspective, I was maxing at 50 miles per week, which, to be honest, like, I know that same year guys my age are doing at least 20 to 30 miles more per week. So, like, I was at that disadvantage, and I always did tell myself that, say, when if I didn't compete where I wanted to be. But I've had to steadily build that with my coach, and then say second year was 60 miles, and I was like, or not even, actually, I think second year I think I only averaged 50 miles when I was 14th in the national cross. Yeah, sorry. So second year, and then I was like, last year I got up to about 60 miles when I came fifth in national cross. So I'm still always telling myself, right, there's a lot more to give in terms of training, in terms of building on that strength, because now I'm up to between 70 to 80, where I feel like is a sweet spot, for me at the minute. I'm getting it consistent, getting it in, and I'm excited to see what I can kind of do, through building these miles and strength while keeping my kind of S&C in there. So yeah, to answer your question, I'm quite excited to see, like, where I can go with running, because I feel like there's still a good bit more to give, as I build up through these miles, kind of, because yeah, I've learned over the last year or so that the miles are really important.
Definitely.
But while you have to just get there at your own pace, and mine was just a little bit slower than other people, I reckon. But I'm delighted to be back up now where I want to be.
Yeah, no, and definitely we'll be looking forward to seeing, on in national stage and an international stage, when you get to that level of fitness and start, getting into the real mileage and real training, to see where that leads you in terms of your fitness and obviously the running overall. But even in terms of the injury and everything, you still, back in 2019, had a pretty solid season. And in terms of, representing Ireland and just running on an international stage, you want to just take us back to your first two Irish school teams, back when you were in secondary school, and then kind of work your way up to 2019 from in terms of international appearances.
Yeah, I mean, so back in the SIABs, it's funny enough, I saw a picture in the newspaper the other day of myself and Jack O'Leary. Jack O'Leary's from my club as well, and a good friend of mine. And he's a 1344 guy, and for 5K. And the two of us were at that same internationals. I just saw us, and it's just, I think it's 2013 now. It's so many years ago. And we just looked like such kids. But it was nice to look back, and I remember. I think I qualified in ninth at the schools All Ireland, which meant that one person was overage. So I got in by the skin of my teeth on that one, and I just remember I was just so excited the 2 weeks leading up to it. Got the gear sent or whatever, and got the gear in the airport, and I was just, yeah, it was a class experience. And we travelled over to Wales with the team, and I think our team was second to England at that one in Wales. And I remember I remember feeling a little bit like overwhelmed out of my depth. I'd say there's just the English kids can I remember they can just move so quick from such an early age. They're so strong. I suppose it's just the population they have. It's just that you get the best of the best
Mm.
at them schools. So that was definitely. I think I was eighth Irish. A bit disappointed in that. I think maybe I had a little niggle. I think I was hopping around the place after the race, but the race went okay. But um, it's kind of a blur now. But I do remember even we had a team talk the night before. I don't know if I don't know if you know him actually, Alan O'Neill from St
Yeah, no,
Aidan's school.
he sometimes comes up and gives us a dig out in the club in terms of coaching. Now I know him well.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, he was our kind of what you call him, team lead, I think, or um and he gave us a speech the night before it, and I thought, I was just like, he got us so riled
Definitely,
up,
no, I
like we
know
were
from
like,
experience.
yeah, he gets you ready to go for
Yeah,
war, like, and I'm pretty sure that's what he says in the speech. He was telling us that we're going to war, and and that pride that he built, and kind of made me feel the day of the race as well when you had that Irish vest on. Yeah, there was very little feelings like it, and one of the coolest things is just being a part of the team where you're like, these guys are, they're like-minded individuals, but you're also like, it's nice to feel like, I got here and they got here, and we all kind of earned it. And it was nice to make literally just making friends. And I mean, some of them are still running, and I still talk to. I even trained Kevin McGrath. He was on my team, my first international team, and so the two of us trained together in normal time, and before COVID anyway. We trained together a few days of the week, like. So it's funny how few stories kind of start like that from such a young
yeah,
age, but and we all kind of come up together. But that was a savage experience running in the Irish Fest, and you see the pictures after, and you're just like, oh, that's class. Like that's you're like that was kind of my, it's always your dream from such a young age as well. And the Mullingar Harriers has some sort of it's called a roll of honor. To have a little plaque on the at the clubhouse, and it has your name on it when you get your first Irish cap. So I was delighted to go up there with, actually, along with my mother, who was up there as well.
class.
So that there was that sense of
Yeah,
pride as well. It was pretty cool. So that one was my first, and then I do remember quite clearly the second one was in Santry. Funny enough, when we stayed in the Crown Plaza right beside
yep,
it, and I was intermediate. And I was second in the All Ireland coming into this, so this one was a bit more exciting for me in terms I was like, right, like I'm part of the team now. I'm I'm gonna score. I need to be up high, and so it was nice to get that experience at I know it's the same stage, but it felt like a higher
yeah,
stage,
I get you.
uh, and and it was exciting to kind of be part of. I think James Edgar was our lead on the team, and he's a Commonwealth triathlete now. He was at the Commonwealth Games. He's a savage athlete. So there's again more stories like that where you're running with guys that are still running. I think Mihal Power was on my team there as well, and I'm good friends with him still, and he's a 14:04
Yeah,
5K guy. So yeah, that was another experience, and I remember Santry. It was a beautiful day, and the English lads, as usual, absolutely hammered it out. I think we went through the first 1500 in like 4:30 or something
yeah,
stupid, 4:30 five for back then. I was
Jesus.
like, holy. Christ. And we just went flying, and I ended up coming like 12th. I think our team was second again. You're always second to England, them
Yeah,
side. It's hard to get a winning team. Funny, I think Dara McElhaney won the junior race that day, and I became friends with Dara at them championships as well. And I still race, and I'm friends with Dara as well. So it's cool how them things work out. But the race itself was as I said, fast. I think I was third Irish in on the day. I was happy enough with my performance. I was 12th, but again, putting on that Irish vest, there's little like it. And it just makes you want more as well. I'd say, which is another reason I think I found it so tough, because I would have been injured after that one in transition year, that intermediate international, and I didn't get another vest for so long. I felt like so. It's definitely addictive, that feeling of getting that for them Irish caps. But yeah, there's no other feeling like it really.
Yeah, definitely. And I've actually never asked this question before, but it just came to me there. So, do you know when you represent Ireland and your club on an international stage, and especially against, as you said, lads in England with such a high population and who are so fast. When you come back then to Ireland, you start competing nationally within, All Ireland's on the track and All Ireland's cross country, and especially within your own county. Does that kind of take a little bit of the pressure off you then, or kind of in the back of your mind you're like, right, I was able to get through and compete for my own country on an international basis. I can definitely run and compete at a big stage within the country, or is the nerve still the same before a big nationals race?
I'd say the nerves are still the same, but there is it does add that extra bit of
Yeah,
confidence, because it's not as big of a stage as when you're on that international stage. You're able to deal with the nerves better, I feel, because you've been to that next that next level of nervousness, at the international stage. And even I find, for your first, say, internationals and stuff, you almost feel overwhelmed. Whereas at a national stage, then you're like, right, I have a job to do, and it does make it feel like a lot more natural, and you have that bit more confidence. Yeah, so I would agree with you. Yeah, it does.
yeah, no, that's good to hear. And then since then, going through quite a lot in terms of big stages and running, and obviously the injury. Then in 2019, you were able to make a little bit maybe of a comeback, you could even say, in Lisbon in the Euro Cross. That's quite a big stage. Were you in the race with Ephraim and Jakob Ingebrigtsen, or what race were you in?
No, I was in the under 23 race, so the one above that. My training partner Jamie Battle would have been in the junior race with Ephraim and them, and they got that disappointment, of coming fourth, the team. But yeah, Ephraim had a class
Yeah,
race that day,
definitely.
so we were up in the next age group with geez, what's his name?
The French lad.
The French
Oh yeah,
French
yeah,
lad,
yeah. With the hat.
Jimmy
Yeah,
Gressier.
he's a bit of a
Yeah,
tosser. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. To be fair,
yeah.
he did you ever see
I,
the knee slide and the failed knee slide? Uh,
Exactly. Yeah, that was. It just hurts that was his third year in a row winning the under 23 race. Like, he's a class
yeah,
athlete, but yeah, he he does some questionable
definitely,
things. Let's just say.
definitely,
Yeah. So I was in the under 23 race. I mean, it felt, like the quality was just out. Like, Jimmy Gressier is a he's going to be in the Olympics. He's a 13. What is he now? 13, 15 guy or
Jeez,
something.
yeah.
Or has he gone even quicker? I'm not sure. I know he ran 7:30:38 for 3K there, last week. So I feel like the top 5 or 10 were just scary. Like, just it was just so quick. And that course was grueling,
Definitely,
but
yeah.
yeah, it was a class experience. Yeah.
So like in terms of race, as you said there, the course was pretty intense. Especially in a level that was Europeans, and especially on the under 23 level, the bar really starts to rise. You can go to the SIABs when you're a bit younger, but that's just within the kind of Ireland and the United Kingdom. But then when you start seeing these professional athletes like Jakob Ingebrigtsen and whatnot, then does does it kind of become more of a, oh, it's great to be here, or do the nerves start piling up a little bit more? What was your kind of mental experience like before going into the European cross last year, or in 2019?
Yeah, so like I mean, I had like definitely the race of my life in the nationals, in coming fifth, and so I was confident in that way. And I knew Brian Fay, like I was second to him. I think I was 14 or 15 seconds behind him, and I was like, I know he's a class act. And I was quite happy with where I was. I was like, I can try compete with these guys and go with them. That was kind of my mindset going in. But at the same time, I had spent so much emotional energy in the nationals, kind of just trying to get there in the first place. I was just like, everything was built on just getting there,
Yeah,
especially when it's your first. I definitely say that, like when it's your first major, you just want to qualify, which is a bad. Now looking back on it, it's a bad way to think about it. Like I definitely when I go for my next, I'd be thinking like doing the job at the international stage. But in a way, I was like just relieved. I was like, I thank God I've got
yeah,
this. Like I've eventually got where I wanted to be. But then you're telling that doesn't really come into your mind when you're coming up to it. You're really thinking like, right, I have a job to do here. Um you're on a team. You're on a team that wants to medal, like with a ambitious. So this is a six-person team. So the five other guys, Jack O'Leary, Brian Fay, Peter Lynch. They were all two lads coming in. Jack and Peter were coming in from the States off impressive NCAA performances. And yeah, it was exciting to be part of the team, for sure. But even around the hotel, yeah, as you say, you're seeing these lads, Jakob Ingebrigtsen, all these pros, just having lunch or whatever, and I feel like when you're not used to it, I felt a lot of energy was just kind of wasted, just in terms of that, excitement energy. You're just sitting down and you're talking to people and you're spending an hour or two in the lobby at lunch because you're just like nothing else. You're waiting for your races and that's coming the day or 2 days after, and you're just chatting to your team and all that. I would say in a way I would have got a bit distracted almost.
yeah,
You're at such a big stage and you're like, this is so cool. But I mean, I was told so many times when my physio, even Deck Monan, he goes to these championships with us. And he was like, all I'll say to you is just do the little things right. You're going to forget things. And I was always like, I'll be fine. I've done races again and again. I won't miss anything. And then next thing, we got to the call room and I opened my spikes. This is just an example I'm giving you, of how kind of distracted you're able to get at these large stages. I opened my spike bag, take them out, and I look. I hadn't screwed my
yeah,
spikes in. And like that is the most rookie mistake you can make.
yeah,
Like literally, like you would never ever do it back home
yeah,
here. You just have it done the night before, or they'd just be in anyway. But I had somehow told myself that I had done it, and then I realized and I looked and I was like, oh my God, like I don't even have my spikes in. I literally they're panicking, just screwing, screwing, screwing. And all the lads were looking at me just like I was absolutely, I was catting it. Like I was. Jeez, and that you're already nervous enough about
exactly.
to go out into the start line, and I was just shaking there, just after I couldn't believe I'd done it. So that was an example. Like I had so much time to kill in the hotel. Yeah, I forgot something so simple like that. And I think for me that was just the stage that you're on. You're just distracted by all this. You're like, whoa. In a way, you are saying, "I'm happy to be here. Look at all these guys," but come, it teaches you a lot, and I've come off it, and I'm just like I came 49th at that race, and we can go through the race if you'd like after. But I was just saying, I came home and I was like, I don't want to be 49th. Just making up the numbers. I was like that. Didn't feel great during the race. I was just like, being in that position, I was just like having no effect on the race. I came home and you're just like, right, next time I need to get it. I need to do better. I need to get it right in terms of even simple things like that. Just relaxing in the hotel in your room on your own, like you would at home here. So that's one of the things I'd say about like that mental difference when you're going to these large competitions, that there is so much energy just spent or just wasted kind of if you're not careful and you're not experienced, which I definitely wasn't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And then hopefully next time, obviously, it is a bit surreal, as you said, seeing all these professional athletes around, and that was kind of just a learning curve, you could say. But in saying that, it kind of sounds a bit like a time wasted in saying, oh, it was a learning curve and whatnot, because of the stage of the race, or the stage of the, like, how big of a race it actually was. So yeah, you might have wanted more out of it, but in terms of not really knowing what to do with your time and how to get in the mental headspace before the race, it definitely was a bit of a learning curve. But yeah, as you said there, in actual terms of the race, I watched all the races, and by no means was it an easy course. Like, there was the part with the logs that you had to jump over, and there was a good few falls there on that day, and then it was dirty, like it was muddy, and it was heavy, and there was a good few uphill. So especially for your first Europeans, in terms of mental before going into the race, and then the course being quite grueling as well. You can take some positives away, but in terms of pain and how you felt on the day, how did the race actually go for you?
Yeah, so I think you're thinking of actually the Belgium one the year before, man.
Was that 28? Oh, right.
That was yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So 2019 was the Lisbon one where it was just
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
1K. Do you remember
yeah,
that where it was kind of twisting and turning, and then there was a big downhill into the finish. Um, it was the worst course I've ever experienced, to be honest with you. Like, I know Jamie that I train with, he did our house, the world cross country, that was in Belgium, and that's meant to be the worst. Like, I watched that
yeah,
race, and but he said the one in Lisbon was close to second, that the worst he's ever raced. And oh man, it was the worst I've ever like. I mean, we warmed up the day before. Like, this puts in perspective, and warming up. Like, I don't know. I don't think I had a heart rate monitor on, but I wouldn't have wanted to have it on. Like, we were going at 7:30 mile pace, and I was just like, this is killing. Like, I nearly
crazy.
felt like
Yeah,
just jogging up the hills. I was getting lactic. I was like, oh my, and it's because it's in Lisbon. You're talking you between 15 to 20 degrees, which, coming from Ireland where you're used to 0 degrees that time of year, it was a bit of a shock to the system as well. Um, and which, it was nice in a way, but even warming up, I was sweating. I was just like, this is
yeah,
crazy. Um, so the course was pretty much, for us, we had 8K, so it was one 500 meter lap, and then what would that be? I think six 1500 meter laps, um, something like that. And the 1500 meter laps consisted of pretty much 1K where you're just climbing this, like, I can only describe it as if they're almost going up like Tour de France. You know, the way
yeah,
they
yeah.
have
I
them
get you.
windy roads going up and up and up, and you're just twisting on yourself. So they went up this hill, and then you just got to the top. That was 1K probably, and then it was like 500, a few hundred meters at the top of the hill, and then you went straight back down. And yeah, it was just grueling. I remember starting the race, and well, I'll even take it back to the start line. I was in the second line of the Irish guys, and I. It's funny, at these championships. There's just this big clock, like a massive, like, clock, and it's telling you the exact second that it is, and they tell you, right, guys, you're going to be going at 11 a.m. and it's 10:59, let's say, and you just see these seconds just
Yeah,
just ticking. And I was just looking at these seconds tick, and we had like 40 seconds to go, and I just seen like everyone just started getting down, like, getting into their starting position, like, and I was like, geez, God, we have like a minute here. Why is everyone getting down? But they were just, I think everyone's so nervous and just afraid that they're gonna go at any time or
yeah,
something, and that we were literally like in your starting position for a full 40 seconds, I'd describe it as. And I was like, you're nearly getting tired. Your leg is like,
yeah,
you're like, what the hell? And it's funny, there's literally 10 seconds, and they say, on your marks, and then you're just waiting there looking at the clock, and it's like 10:59 and 58 seconds and 59 seconds, and then you see the 11, they just pop the gun, and you're gone. And that was just, I felt like that was almost overwhelming in itself. I was like, this is, you're already so nervous, and you're just taking all this different information in that you're not used to. And that was it. And yeah, as you can imagine, they're just out like rabbits, like, flying. And I think with it, like, I told within 500 meters, I was in the middle of the pack. There's just so much people around you. There was like a few 180-degree turns within the first lap where you're just coming to a full
Yeah.
stop. Like you're going a kilometer an hour around this corner with like lads, and you're just all touching each other, and you're just like, this is horrible. And I think within 500 meters, I just felt horrible. I don't know what it was. I was just like, I don't feel good today, and I was like, this could be rough. And we had so lo and behold, we had another six 1,500 meter laps to do, and or does that make sense for 8K? It probably doesn't. I can't even remember. And it felt like 100 laps, and we just were climbing this hill. Even the first climb, I was like full of lactic. I was like, this is horrible. I was probably coming. I think I came through the first lap in like 30th or 40th, between that, and I was trying to get up. Brian Fay, Jack O'Leary, and Peter Lynch were all around 20th, and I was looking at them guys, but there was just so much people in between. It's just so crowded, and literally every lap was just like hell. Like I'll just be completely honest with this race. Like this was one of the races where you just wanted to end. Like I was going into it so pumped up. Team talks, like Liam Brady gave team talk the night before. He's like, you die before you drop out and all that sort of thing. Like, and you're just like, that's kind of going through your head. But man, I was like, I would do anything to drop out at a few stages during that race. And everyone I've talked to in the race was the same. Just the lactic that was in going through the legs, like,
Yeah.
which you're not really used to in cross country races here in Ireland. Like you used to just steady, well, not very steady, like they can be tough, but and mucky. But this was different. It was fast and uphill, and it was even the ground was very hard. It was very bobbly, and I just felt like it didn't suit me. But yeah, I tell everyone the story that like there was this tree when you just were coming down the hill and you had to go around the corner, and I had one lap to go, and I remember this clear thought in my head, and I was like, if I just threw myself against this tree, I wouldn't have to excuse
Yeah.
myself to anyone. I'd just be knocked out, so everyone would feel sorry for me. And just like, it just shows you where your head goes, like when you're in these painful situations.
Just ask the lad
But
behind you to throw you into the tree.
Yeah, exactly. I was just like anything. I was like, and then even like I think on the last lap there was a British guy, um, and he had there was a few sharp corners coming down the hill, and he obviously just pretty much lost consciousness, or just wasn't in the right headspace, and took the corner too long, and he just went straight
Jesus.
over the rope, like, and he, because it cut off a corner, so he tried to hop back on the course then, like in his daze, and he just fell over the fence, then back onto the course, and then just had to. So I remember running by him, and he was just sitting down. But I'd heard the story of what happened to him, and it just kind of showed what was going on. And like, even I think Brian Fay, like he had a class race that day, and he was coming seventh at one stage, like, and he went for it, like Brian would. And he says he just died, and he ended up coming like 22nd, which is still a class result. But it just showed like everyone was just in the hurt locker that day, and I was definitely one of them. Like, I mean, it was a great experience, but I was like, that was the most horrible race I've ever ran. Um, there's even a video. I'm coming because the finish was just after this long downhill, so your legs were just, you weren't even in control of them anymore. They were just
Yeah.
flying down this hill, and there's a few people have sent me the video laughing a few times where do you know the way people say they're swimming
Yeah.
when you're finishing a race? Like I'm literally like, my arms are going like this. Like like, you can find the video. I'm probably a minute behind leader, but yeah, I'm literally like falling over the line, just like just getting to that line, and I was happy I did that little swim, because I made sure I came in the top 50 at least. But yeah, that it was such a grueling race. But again, a class experience, and kind of made me come off it. And I was thinking, I want to be much better prepared last time. Like I said, I was probably averaging 60 miles that season, and you can be sure Jimmy Gressier is doing a hell of a lot more miles than that. So that's where I was just like, right, I want to start preparing for these championships, and performing at them. And that's why I was really excited for my final year under 23, which was meant to be Dublin 2020, but
Yeah.
we all know
Exactly.
we all know how that turned
Yeah.
out.
No, I was looking forward to that as well. Obviously, just to watch it would have been it would have been a really good experience and seeing some of the top lads. Hopefully it can be held in Dublin, hopefully next year or soon enough anyway. Um,
Yeah, they have it for 2021, I believe. It's just a bit. I don't know how the selection and all will go. Um, but yeah, I'll be a senior now. It's just it's kind of sad having missed my kind of final year under 23 where I really wanted to give that age group a bash. But it's into the grown ups we go.
exactly. But sure, look, once the training comes along, and the strength is there and the fitness and all, so you should be grand and hopefully have no problem at all. But no, just by the sound of that course, it just sounds horrible. And you said there at the start that 500 meters in and you'd already felt horrible. I think that affects you. I know, like, your legs aren't feeling good, but I feel like mentally that affects you big time. 500 meters in, and you're already
Mm.
thinking like, what is going on? Like, I am hurting like mad.
Yeah.
Just I have another like 7.5k. It's just horrible. So do you think when those thoughts creep into your head, even when before even the big pain comes, you're kind of already setting yourself up to lose? And I know that's not only just you. That's literally everyone that doesn't get off to a good start to a race. But do you think that kind of is setting you up to kind of limit yourself in the race?
Yeah, in a way, like I mean, I think I was almost comparing it as well to like 2 weeks before prior to that when at nationals, and I think I went off on the hardest in the court in the hardest in the field, and I felt so good, over the first 500 1K, and I think I was expecting to feel as good as that, and then next thing, whether it was just how the overwhelming the whole occasion is, or whether it
Yeah.
was the fact maybe I had peaked at nationals and I was just not going as well as I thought I just wasn't the form wasn't there anymore. So whatever it was, but yeah, there was that stage after 500 meters where I was like, oh, geez, I don't feel great here. But I think yeah, it definitely affects your whole race if you're thinking that straight away. But I've had plenty of races where I've felt bad at the start, and I tried to tell myself it's just one of them things you're gonna get a second win now and another 500 meters and you'll be back feeling good, and I did try at one stage through that kind of that first 1500-meter lap. I tried to move up to the lads and stuff, and through the field, and you're just trying to flip that mentality kind of. But yeah, it's hard to come back. It's hard to come back from when you're feeling bad at the start. I must say, and I did feel it that day. But again, as runners, I think we're all stubborn, and you're gonna get through that race. And I didn't do any worse in terms of on an Irish scale. I was still I was the two guys came from America, so I was fourth Irish home. So I still had an okay race, but yeah, starting like that is rough when you're just like, oh no, this isn't going to be good. Yeah, it was tough to kind of battle through that, but I was at least proud that I gave it all in the course. I think I got sick 3 times after the race.
Jesus.
I was that bad. Yeah, again, maybe there was something going on there. I have no idea, but I wasn't okay for a good few hours after the race. Yeah, people were looking at me like there's something wrong with that lad. Like I think Carl Dennehy was doing the interview and all after, and I think I had my arm around Brian Fair, one of the lads, and Carl he kind of just moved the camera a little bit away from me because he was just afraid. I think he was just afraid that this lad's going to collapse or something. Like he was just, yeah, there wasn't much chat coming out of me anyway, and he knew that because I was spent. So don't know whether there was something going on that race, but yeah, it wasn't me feeling my utmost, but still proud. I was able to get through it.
Yeah, definitely. And representing your country on any stage and with any outcome is always going to be an honour, and you're always going to be, proud to a certain degree after a race. So you can just, as I said, take it as experience on a big European stage, and then do better in the next one, hopefully in 20, or this year, hopefully in 2021, or next year.
Yeah, yeah, please God, and like yeah, it'll be exciting to get on that senior stage and be that bit more prepared in terms of training and all. And I'm delighted with how like training has gone since 2019. And yeah, I can't wait to get back on the cross country
Yeah.
course because think at heart, cross country is my first love in terms of running. Like that's where I would have, as I said, I started on at the Westmead cross country, excuse me, and yeah, I'm excited to get some times on the track, but I'll always hold that kind of love for cross country, I think.
Yeah, definitely. So kind of moving away from Lisbon in 2019, in terms of athletics at a collegiate level within Ireland, DCU was kind of the top dog when it comes to that, and then you know that could definitely influence a reason to end up in DCU, especially with academics alongside that as well. But then to end up being men's captain for DCU athletics and the running side, the distance running side of things, how does that really come about? Is it kind of just how long you've been there, experience, whatnot, best athlete there? How does that kind of come about?
Yeah. So like in terms of in the universities here in Ireland, like it's very much like they're a club. Like the members run it in a big way. And like we have our head of athletics, Paul Byrne. I think he was on. You had him on as a
Yeah,
guest, I believe. Um, and Paul does so much for us in his class, but he pushes as well that the the athletics club is a club, and the members kind of run it. So in terms of that, it's kind of a vote. So it's this committee. No, it's not a committee. We have an AGM and stuff, and people get nominated for different positions. And I'm sure experience, and you're not going to come in as a first year and get voted men's captain. But getting I've lived in the house here for 4 years. I feel like I've gotten to know a lot of the DCU athletics family, and yeah, so it was kind of somebody nominated me, and then I just ended up becoming the men's captain. I took over from Michael Carey, who was captain here for like I think 4 years or something. So it's new to me, but it's fun. I mean, it'll be a lot more fun if there was races and stuff. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah,
I mean the captain's job is kind of to lead out races and get the athletes in and get people competing and stuff like that. But so which has been a bit quiet this year. But in other ways, we're trying to engage the members of the club pretty much just through different Zoom yoga circuit classes, all this, trying to keep everyone healthy and connected in a way. But that's kind of how the clubs are around here. I mean, there's 4 competitions a year. We have the road relays, the cross country, and then the indoor and outdoor track. So yeah, in terms of the athletics and the collegiate stage, DCU are definitely the top dog, and yeah, going back to what you said, and even in terms of the academics, I kind of couldn't be happier how it worked. Like I wanted to go to America as a young lad, just because you have that idealistic, version of how America will turn out. But personally, I'm delighted with how it's turned out for me coming to DCU. The course, I love my course. Just it's a nice break from running, I'd say, and the level of education you get here. Not gonna lie, like to be truthful, is higher than you're going to get in the states.
definitely, yeah.
I think everyone knows that, and that's why, yeah, I'm delighted with how it's worked out for me, and I've became such good friends with just so many people here, especially in the house, and the DCU, the wider family. Not everyone lives on campus here. Obviously, you have a lot of Dublin members and stuff. So that's kind of how the collegiate system works. I think the men's and or the in terms of you score for the track and field and the indoors, and I don't think DCU has lost a men's or women's in the last say 9 or 10 years. We've been consistently up at that high level in terms of the collegiate system, and I've been lucky enough to be part of the cross country team last 3 years, and we've won at that, and the road relays as well, which is a really fun event as well. It's like a 1 mile, 2 mile, 3 mile, 2 mile, 1 mile for the men's. So that I love competing with DCU. I think it's a lot of fun. But yeah, but there's talk of like more races coming in the collegiate system in terms of between Dublin universities and stuff like that, and trying to get a bit more competitions in. But Yeah, man. DCU, I probably couldn't recommend it enough. I definitely came to DCU as and used kind of the older guys that are there, and I was here with Cottle Doyle for 4 years or for 3 years, and you're seeing how fast these guys can run, and these older guys, and you're also getting lovely kind of, I feel like, this on campus lifestyle, or just well, when everything's off Zoom eventually, you'll get to experience it as well, or in different campuses. But the lifestyle around campus is really nice, and just going for runs with people, that around here, and you just wake up and lads just say, right, we'll go for a run, and you go out to the park and run together, and um, I've loved every second of it, to be honest. I'm actually currently in my room here and this has been my room the last 3.5 years, the exact
Class.
same my little spot slot of the world, kind of. So yeah, I'll be sad to leave it at the end of this year, but it's been a class experience here in DCU for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And I think personally, I'd obviously love to end up going over to America and whatnot, but just seeing where you've come with your running and being able to compete at a really high level, just like Lisbon in the European cross countries last year, with staying in Ireland and having maybe things a little bit easier, knowing to navigate and your way around Dublin and your way around Ireland, just shows that America isn't the be all and end all of running, and you can by all means, stay in Ireland and then eventually compete at the highest level, whether that's the Olympics or the World Championships, or whatever you pursue in athletics, or even in academics, as you mentioned, because
Yeah.
academics here is definitely miles ahead than most colleges anyway that you could get over in America. So in a sense, it's quite kind of refreshing to hear that even if you don't get the opportunity over in America, your running and academics wise can be pursued, 10 times even better than people might even think over here in Ireland.
Yeah, 100%, man. Like, one thing I'd say, like, I'm talking to you, your transition year, did you say, or
I
around
Yeah,
that age? Yeah, like, yeah, even that age group, like, I thought, America is the be all and end all when I was that age, 100%, and it just didn't materialize for me, and I'd just looking back with hindsight now, like, you're just like, there's so much different pathways, and different ways to get where you want to be, and I kind of, as I said before, was just a stubborn mindset, whereas I didn't want to give up running. I wanted to see what I could do with it, and yeah, it's to do with what you're willing to do for the sport. It's what you make of a place. It's what, but like, I mean, this place is still I mean, there's always been such a big group of distance athletes here, but which helped massively. But yeah, I'd say that transition, like, it doesn't, everyone kind of transitions different, from especially in that junior to under 23 stage. It's a tough stage where you're going up in distances, you're up in your mileage, there's going to be injuries. It's part of the sport, and here in Ireland, like, I was able to, we have the high performance gym down in St. Clair's down the road. We have access to the sauna, just 50 meters from my room, pretty, in the DCU Sports Complex, and yeah, I'd say that I think as a young lad, I put pressure on myself. I wanted to get to the States. I mean, I think even in my final year, I was talking to some college. I think it was a Division 1 college, but realistically, quite a low standard. Like, and the education I would have got there would have been nothing compared to here. And I was still considering going, because I just had that idea of America in my head. But I mean, there's so much options beyond that, in my opinion. Now, like, you can even see from, as I keep saying, Brian Fay, but like, I mean, that guy has. I ran with him, I think, in our senior schools, Leinster's. I think I was second, he was fourth, and and then you're talking about the same two guys in the same stage. We were in the same year in college, and all. We're both in fourth year, and we were both in third year, for the nationals, and he comes second, and I come fifth in the national senior cross country. So it kind of puts in perspective, like, it's kind of what you make of a place, I'd say. And I feel like, a guy like Brian Fay. I mean, he's time trial at 13:40, and he's only going to keep getting better. And yeah, you're still talking. He's in the exact same position if not better than so many other people, or than some people that have gone to the States, and it's just kind of it's how the cookie crumbles, I guess. It's a game of luck, and I definitely say, like, I mean, I'm not putting down America in any way. I mean, if it's going to work out for you and running's what you love, America will be class. It's unreal. Like, I'm actually hoping to go now at the end of this year myself, and it seems like a unreal system. But it definitely, I would add to what you said, that there's a lot of different ways to get where you want to be, and this was kind of mine, and I couldn't be happier kind of how it worked out.
Yeah, definitely. And you touched on there briefly that hoping by the end of this year you'll be heading over to America yourself. So do you want to just kind of real quick expand on that?
Yeah, so I mean, I there's eligibility in terms of your college career. There's like you have like 6 years to no, you have 5 years to complete 4 seasons. So I still have a season or two, a few seasons left, and I just got in contact with I had pretty much I went through the top 30 in the NCAA's last year, and I just emailed every single head coach and seen who got back to me, and uh, happily enough, Tulsa got back to me, their coach Taylor Gully, and I started getting in talks with them, and they're number 5 in the nation last year, um, and I think it was my cross country in Lisbon and stuff they were quite interested in, because for getting a graduate, so I'd be going over as a graduate student, and for getting a graduate student, they it's for them, it's a person that can come into the team and straight away make an impact,
Yeah,
rather than a freshman who needs that year or two to mature.
definitely.
So that was kind of my angle on it. Well, obviously, that's why I was like, these guys might be interested, because I'd heard other people had done it, and yeah, I pretty much just went after it myself in terms of emailing them, and they were really interested, and happily enough, I've actually signed for Tulsa for starting in fall 2021. So I'm hoping to get 2 years out there. Um, Peter Lynch is over there, and Shay McAvoy as well is over there as a freshman at the minute, and Tulsa is in Oklahoma, um, which, yeah, it's going to be a new adventure for me. It's going to be quite different. But they have a nice team in terms of, it's like 50-50 American slash English Irish. So there's that nice international bit part to it, and as well, the thing that kind of made me decide I'd go there was I actually got on to Chris O'Hare, or actually, funny enough, he got on to me, because he still worked. He went through college in Tulsa. He won the NCAA's through with Tulsa, and I think it was a 1500 indoor, and I don't know if we won the outdoor as well. But Chris O'Hare by now, do you?
Yeah,
Yeah, he's an unreal
definitely.
athlete,
Yeah.
and he's set up his whole life over there, and he kind of helps out with the college, and actually trains with the lads as well sometimes. So, um, he kind of convinced me in the end. He was kind of like Tulsa, or kind of like the underdogs over in terms of in the NCAA's, but they're always such a strong team, and Peter Lynch, he was on my under 23 Irish team as well, and he was 13th, I think, in the NCAA cross country last year, which was just a phenomenal result. Like, not many people get in the top 15 in that race. Not many Irish athletes have ever done it. So that their track record and their kind of team aspect kind of won me over, and I'm really excited to go over. Funny enough, Mihal Power has signed as well, the exact same thing. So I'm actually going over with an Irish guy as well. Both of us doing a postgraduate degree. So, yeah, I'm really excited. Like, eventually, as I've said, it has always been my dream. I kind of wanted. My mother did it, and I was like, it was always in the back of my head that I'd kind of go after doing an Irish degree here. Um, and yeah, can't wait for it.
Yeah, definitely. And I know we were kind of maybe slandering on America a little bit there just a moment ago, but in terms of maybe not in terms of education wise, but definitely in improving running, it can be a different breed, and it can be a completely new standard of running. And I'd say you definitely will see big improvements in your running and in races when you start really getting into intense training over in America.
yeah, I mean, like, there's no other way to put it, but like every race in America or every race is a Europeans, you
Yeah,
know, like that's how good the standard is, and in terms of that, yeah, you're not going to get that level of competition anywhere else. Like even like Jack O'Leary is my good friend, and he's in Iona College. He's been there 4 or 5 years now, and as he said before, like that's a definitely a massive benefit. Say him coming to Europeans, that's just like him going to any normal race in
yeah.
America. It's just that big over there. So in terms of gaining that experience, yeah, you can't really beat that NCAA system where you're just competing against the best in the world. There's no other way of really putting it. Like the guys that win them races are Olympians that same year, more than likely, you know. So yeah, I'm really excited to see how I can push on over there. And as you said, that it's another kettle of fish in terms of like I'd say every run you go on, you could be running with 15 guys on your team, you know, and every training session is up to 30 guys on a team, and it's just it is massive like that, and they do train like there's no other way of putting it, just animals like they train hard and I'm looking forward to kind of getting into the nitty gritty with them.
Yeah, definitely, and it'd be great to see how far you can take your times down, and obviously how many races you can be in contesting for even the podium or even that elusive gold medal, and maybe just even for now to get a little bit of a baseline of where your times are at just before you head over to America, and get into that lifestyle and that training, just to get a little bit of a baseline from any personal best or personal records that you think are important to you in your distance. Just shout them out there.
Yeah, so I mean, all my personal bests are from like 2018 and 2019. Some of them are lasting way too long now with this
Definitely,
COVID
yeah.
crack. But I think I'm 14:46 officially for 5K. But I've done a few time trials down last year where we've been nicely down lower in the 14s. But and then 10K I haven't got the race at all, which I think is going to actually be my main distance when I'm over there in the States. So I'm looking forward to getting a good time on the board there as soon as I can. And then 3K is from, geez, I think it's 2018 now. So by the time I race another 3K, it'll be nearly 3 years. So that's 8:29. I'm looking forward to getting into a nice fast 3K as well over there if I can. And then my 1500 is 3:55, which I mean, I don't worry about too much in terms of 5 and 10K, but I'd like to see that come down into the 340s if I can. Just be nice. Like it's not a secret that closing speed is important. For winning 5Ks and stuff. The best 1500 guys often win 5K races, so I definitely like to see that coming down and getting that speed in as well as the strength.
Yeah, definitely, and still, hopefully we can get a good 10K PB out of you, and see where your career leads with that. But still, at the moment, those times you were saying that with the 5K time trial that you were doing yourself, you got down to about 4:15, which is definitely, even you could say in a race, if it wasn't a tactical race, people were trying to go out hard and go out fast, you could even get that down even more, because obviously having that competition around you can push you to go even that bit faster.
Yeah, like we got a nice crew out of us out for it. It was kind of in one of them lulls where it wasn't a high lockdown, we level 2 or whatever, and we just a few like-minded lads kind of we went out and we kind of just went on the roads. It's out in Selbridge, I think it was, and kind of these back roads, but it actually ended up being like a -1 degrees that morning. So we had to wait for the ice to thaw a little bit and stuff. So it wasn't exactly ideal
Yeah,
temperatures or conditions, but it was nice to have a few guys, and we kind of just raced it out. I mean, it was so cold that I think we went out really slow. So it was nice the fact we closed quite fast and just raced it, and that time kind of just came. To be honest, I gave up on the time after the first kilometer because I was like, oh, that's too slow. So I thought I'm not going to get a PB here today. Well, not that's an official PB, but it's nice that all we can do these days is time trial really. So um it was nice to give it a go, and ended up coming through in 14, 15, and I was quite happy with where that's kind of leaving me in terms of, yeah, as you say, getting in those higher level races with the spikes on and the track, and going for it with a few guys around you. Looking forward to getting them times down pretty fast, and as I was saying, a 10K as well should be interesting.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously in America, I wish you luck with the training, and hopefully getting those times down as quickly as possible. I appreciate you taking the time out. It was quite a long episode of podcast, but again, as usual, quite informative, and really good to hear from another athlete. Who, everyone I have on has different experiences when it comes to early on career, and then when it comes to collegiate running inside or outside of Ireland. So it was good to get another perspective, and as I said, I appreciate you taking the time to come on.
Thanks very much, Gillian. Appreciate it. It was a pleasure to be here.
Grand. So for anyone listening or watching at home, I appreciate you all, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.